Hi there. Last week we talked about adding integers. Today we'll be talking about subtracting integers. We didn't quite have enough time to cover this last week because there's an extra trick to it. So let's review adding integers real quick just for a second because we're going to use the same ideas today. So when we add, say, -3 plus 4, if the signs are different, oops, there's a T. If the signs are different, we will subtract the two numbers. So ignoring the signs for a second, you'll subtract 3 and 4, okay? And then you will keep the sign of the largest absolute value. So remember, the absolute value is the distance from 0. So think of distances can only be positive, so it will be a positive version of your number. Okay, so let's look at this. -3 plus 4, the signs are different. We have a negative and a positive, so we will subtract 4 minus 3 is 1. We want to keep the sign of the largest absolute value. So which one is further away from 0? 4 is, and that's a positive number, so this is going to be a positive 1. If we have the problem, so that goes with this. If we have -2 plus -6, these signs are the same. So that was a different rule. So remember, if your signs are the same, these are both negatives, you add the two numbers. So we'll add 2 and 6. And you just keep the sign of whatever they were. So 2 plus 6 is 8. They're both negative, so we're going to keep the negative sign. And that's this kind of problem. Okay, so when we're talking about subtraction, we're going to use these same rules because we're going to end up turning it into an addition problem. Addition and subtraction are opposites, right? Adding 2 is the opposite of taking away 2. Okay, so these are opposites. So if you see a problem like, let's even say 5 minus 3. This is a problem we've seen since first grade, kindergarten, some of you maybe. So 5 minus 3, we know this is going to be 2. All right, so let's think of this as an integers type problem, okay? So addition and subtraction are opposites. So let's turn this into the opposite problem, but one that will still give us the same answer. So this will be the same as, it will equal 5 plus a -3, right? Since the signs are different, we'll be subtracting them anyways. Okay, so when you subtract, you can add the opposite. Okay, so let me grab a different color marker so we can leave that rule up there standing out in green. So let's do -5 minus 3. There's slightly different than the one we just had. We're going to turn that into -5 plus the opposite of a +3 is a -3. Okay, so really we're just seeing this minus 3, and we're knowing that it's going to take away 3. Remember I told you negatives are like taking things away last week? So negative 5 plus negative 3, they're the same sign, both negatives, so we will add them together. That makes 8. They're both negative, so this will be a negative 8. Okay, how about 6 minus 2? Again, just like the one we had earlier, that looks like a super duper easy problem, but let's think of it the other way. Add the opposite. So 6, instead of minus, we'll do plus, and the opposite of 2 is a negative 2. They're opposite signs, so we'll subtract anyways, just like we had before. That gives us 4. And you want to keep the sign of the number further away from 0, right? The bigger absolute value. This one's further away from 0 than this one is, so our answer will stay positive. What if we had 3 minus a negative 2? Now it's hard to see when you have a minus, a negative. A lot of times people will put it in parentheses just to keep those two minuses separate. Sometimes you'll see minus, minus. Sometimes you'll see minus a little negative 2. So pay attention when you have two minuses, or a minus and a negative, next to each other. Okay? Minus a negative. Add the opposite. Okay? So you have 3. We're going to add instead. The opposite of negative 2 is a positive 2. 3 plus 2, 5. In a way, you can think of this minus and negative as connecting these together and turning it into a plus. So, whenever you subtract with integers, you will add the opposite. So when you see it with negative 3 minus a negative 4, whether it be like this, or you'll usually see it like this, change this to be plus, and make this be the opposite of what it was, so 4 instead of negative 4. They're different signs, so we'll subtract. What's 4 minus 3 is 1. Keep the sign of the one further away from 0, the bigger absolute value, positive, positive 1. I hope that helps you out. If you have any questions, ask in the comments, and thanks for watching.